take you for your money with every spring. Well, I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. Take me. Guitar Players Planet. 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 Sunny skies, the smell of palm tree air. Looking back, I could never feel fair. The way the music has touched my soul, the way that the South holds its control. But I've got a new way to choose. I'm gonna start running back to the land of new. Oh, na 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 na. Seems to me that I have lost my old friend. I catch the sunset on the highway again. Then I get lost on a long summer day. I must go back before it's too late.
Okay. All right. Cool. So what's happening? Uh-huh. Hey.
You all, yeah, I just turned it on. No, yeah, no, it's there. It's there. Sound should be back now. So it's all me.
Yeah.
So you missed my little rant. So that's good. You
That's
know,
fine.
I was cursing out all the viewers and telling them how much everybody sucks. so, so yeah. So I mean, not a lot of stuff to talk about. To be honest with you, I'm exhausted. We're gonna cut this short tonight. Eric's exhausted. We're just tired. So, and it's only the two of us. So, how long do you really want to talk to us for? I mean,
Exactly.
kinda.
Exactly.
So,
But you had a busy but you made a change.
I did. I did. Does it sound good, Jim? Just say yes if the sound's good now. Um, yeah, I did, and there was some bumps in the road. There was some
Mm-hmm.
bumps in the road. So I'm not 110% over to the Nina side,
Right.
and I just want to hear the sound because no, it's
And
good.
don't mind me,
We're good.
guys. Like I said, this has been a crazy day.
It
I
is.
mean,
Uh, yeah, he's eating. I'm drinking. So basically,
from
a normal Wednesday. So
yeah, my kids. It's their first day of school tomorrow. They got orientation, so we have
yeah,
to go to
yeah,
school.
yeah. We
So we
don't
spent
start
two
school
hours.
in New York till next week in
Okay,
some school districts, and then the following week in some others.
gotcha.
So I mean, oh God, I hear them in my cans. Hold on, I gotta close the door. And the TV. Oh shit.
Oh boy,
This is not turn. This may be a 30-minute show,
this may
guys.
be a 30. Yeah, this may be a 20 minute.
And my sound went on. I just heard myself say shit on live TV.
Oh yeah.
I hope this didn't break my $100 keyboard.
Oh my god. Whoops.
And
So
now let me find out where the sound's coming from. There we go. I think we're back. Am I back?
okay, you good? Are you all
No,
right?
I'm not good. I'm so discombobulated. It's so not cool. I don't like being like this on the show. I'm normally discombobulated, but there's 2 hours to 3 hours a week, which we're on the show where I'm semi put together. so, but yeah. So,
So
yeah. So I made a change, and I actually tried this change probably about a week ago. And the change that we're talking about is moving from SGP to Nina. And now, now that I'm able to use Nina because I don't have an S Big camera, unfortunately, S Big cameras aren't supported by Nina.
hmm
So I was stuck with SGP, which wasn't a bad thing. I love SGP. I think it's really, really cool. It's very, very functional. I'm still not sure if Nina is as functional as SGP. I'm still not there yet, but I'll tell you this: I found that once I watched about 6 hours worth of videos from people like, and if you haven't seen it and you're a Nina new user, check out Sean Nielsen's videos on Nina from Visible Dark. Awesome stuff. And check out, and maybe it's just me, I lesser known to me, but Queeve the Lazy Geek. And Eric, you and I were talking about him before, and you were aware of him, and I was kind of aware of him, but I never really watched his videos. It's all put together with, no offense, Sean, Visible Dark and Astro Backyard and a couple other guys in the U.S. And Queeve is actually from
he's in Tokyo.
Japan in Tokyo, yeah. And let me tell you, this guy knows his stuff. He actually wrote some of the either scripting or some of the modules in Nina, and he kind of knows what he's talking about. So
Oh yeah.
if you haven't seen it, definitely check him out. He does it. He does his imaging from his roof in Tokyo, this little kind of thing, and
hmm
he gets
I
some
believe
good
he has a
pictures.
Newtonian.
What's that? Yeah.
I believe he has a Newtonian,
Yep. Yep.
and he has several. I don't know if he has a few ZWO cameras that he uses. but he's talk. You know, I watch him every so often. I've subscribed to his channel. He talks a little bit about Nina. Talks a little bit about you know, especially he talks a lot about imaging in light polluted skies
Yeah.
because
Well,
you know him being in the heart of Tokyo. There you go. I mean, you're Boro 8-9. You know, you're right there. You're in the total white. So he talks a lot about you know, a lot of one shot color, narrowband imaging.
yeah.
So and he knows his stuff, you know.
Yeah, Queeve is really cool. And if you haven't checked him out, he's got like 12,000 plus subscribers
Yeah.
on YouTube. Check him out. He does a lot of stuff, not only stuff on Nina, but plenty of other stuff as well. Check it out. He helped me a lot. And after watching his, I think there's about three main videos of setup and
Yeah.
just running a sequence. And let me tell you something. You know, I didn't the first time I got yelled at by Tyler, the first time, and he's like, "What are you doing? You know SGP so well. Why you changing?" And you know, because I was on Facebook talking about some of the issues I've been having with Nina,
Mm,
and he's like, "Why are you even doing that? You got something that works. Why?" You? And you know what? And I said, and I responded to him, and I was like, "Yeah, you know what? You're right. Why am I doing this to myself?" And something told me to give it a second chance. So I watched some videos, and I picked an object. I picked an object that's really close to Meridian
okay.
right now, for at least for our latitudes, yours and mine, Eric. The Ring Nebula
Yeah.
kind of goes over the meridian really early after nighttime kind of comes in. So I think about like 10:30 or something, 10 o'clock, it hits the
Okay.
meridian. So I wanted to put it to the test about not only the sequencing part of it, but I want to see the meridian flip. I want to see it park. I want to see it shut down. I want to see it, and I didn't want to stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning. So I put it through the ringer, and I let it go, and it did the meridian flip flawlessly. I like the way it does the meridian flip because it actually gives you a sequence trail with breadcrumbs on what it's doing. It says doing the flip,
Yep.
taking the picture, every little step that what it does, recentering, refocusing, all that kind of stuff. It tells you everything. And the thing that's cool about it, and SGP kind of does this, but not really. Depending on where you are in your picture. So let's say if you're taking a 5 minute picture, and there's 1 minute until it hits your meridian limit, it'll
Yeah.
still take that 5 minute picture and then flip on the next one, even though you're +4 based on your meridian flip. What Nina will do, if you're over the meridian flip, it will pause your sequence. If you have 1 minute left, it'll
Yep.
pause your sequence, wait for the meridian to hit, wait for the meridian to pass, flip, and then take the new picture.
Gotcha.
So you're never over your limit.
Your limit. Yeah.
And you can make a lot of changes with either EQ mod and stuff like that to kind of tweak your meridian limits. And same thing with SGP. But I thought that because it was inherent directly into the flip, I thought that was
Hmm.
kind of cool.
That's kind of cool. Yeah. I mean, you know me, I'm an ASI Air guy.
Sure.
I'm waiting for the, you know, the new Plus to come. So I don't have any experience with Nina at all, you know.
No, I
So,
mean, you know, if you know, in all fairness, Eric, if I had an entire, if I wouldn't see Moss, and eventually I will, you
yeah.
know, I don't know. I don't even know if I would go ASIR because I have the Eagle, I have everything, you know.
Right. You have things that you don't necessarily need to go that route.
But yeah, but if I was starting out,
But if you're
like,
starting out,
yeah,
yeah,
that's a
it would make
no-brainer.
yeah, it would make sense. But no, but I'm glad that you know you've started taking you know a look at something new.
Yeah.
You know, you're getting out, you got a little bit out of your comfort zone, and you're trying something new,
Yep.
and it seems to be working out for you. You know, right now.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Another thing that kind of told me to go to Nina is that I kind of got lambasted on one of the chats on one of the videos. I forget which one it was. I think I did an SGP tutorial like a year ago, and somebody said, I don't even know who wrote the comment was, oh man, SGP so old school, get into Nina. I'm like, come on, man. I said, all right, let me give it another shot. And I got to tell you, after watching the videos, and actually, I think the first time I just didn't, I was rushed. I just wanted to do it. I thought it was going to be easy and blah blah blah. It's a completely different type of user interface on Nina than it is on SGP. Even though you can kind of move some of the modules around,
Okay.
just like you can with SGP, you could have your focuser module, so you could click on it in the focuser. You could have your plate solve, telescope, rotator, blah blah blah. You could do all that, but and Simon is an anti Nina person. He's pro SGP, which is fine because he said something online. He's like, I didn't like it. It looks clunky, and when you get into it, it's got the same movability of all the modules like SGP does, but the one thing that SGP doesn't do that Nina does so well, there's no real kind of profile thing going on. So you gotta in SGP, what you gotta do is you have to load up a profile. So based on your setup, you would have a profile. So let's say I have 5 different profiles
Yeah,
on.
you can have several different profiles, maybe for different either targets or different equipment.
It's all about equipment. It's all
Oh,
it's
equipment.
it's not even targets. Well, yeah, because your focal length will change, and so you would have a different target sequence for that. But with Nina, all it is drop down boxes. So if you switch, you don't have to do different profiles. You just click telescope, choose your telescope, boom, connect. Choose
Right.
this, boom, connect. Now you could save that as a profile with targets and all that kind of stuff. You don't have to though. You could just use it's all right in front of your face. It's all right there. It's not the dreadful thing that Sequence Generator Pro does. If you change anything in your sequence, you got to save the sequence, apply the sequence to apply the profile to the sequence all over again, and it's a little annoying. But I mean,
But another thing is that with and this may not really matter much because of the amount of money we were putting into so much stuff with this hobby, but with SGP in a subscription based model now
yeah,
versus Nina, which is right, this is free.
yep,
So so there's that. I mean, it may not in the grand scheme, it may not be that big of a deal, it may not be that important to you, but for some people it may be.
yep,
Now they can save that annual subscription fee if they decide to go to Nina and move away from SGP. But some people, they like Simon, they are comfortable with SGP.
sure.
So, and they're lifelong, they may end up being lifelong customers and say, I don't care about Nina. I'm comfortable with SGP. I know it well. Then it is what it is. It's like me right now with ASIR. Unless I move away from any type of from the ZWO family, I really don't have a need, at least right now, to go at least for Deep Sky to go anywhere else because I'm in this bubble right now.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
if
And
I
if you're in
decide
that bubble, I mean, you don't need anything else. You don't really
exactly
you don't need to spend 900 plus on an Eagle or even 400 plus on a mini PC or whatever.
right,
You
yeah,
don't have to do that. Um, but I mean, if you're in the class of I'm not as branded, I guess. I like using different things.
exactly.
I like my Asado focuser. I like my Moonlight focuser. I like my Arco if I ever get it. I like I like my different pieces, and they all work well together. But unfortunately, they're outside of the ZWO ecosystem, which
Yes,
makes
they
the
are.
ASIR not feasible for
It's
me.
not feasible for you.
Yeah.
So no, so it makes total sense,
Yep.
you know. But so you've been doing that. I actually this weekend, and I'm sure you've seen. I'll share some of my photos with you. I actually got the Edge, my Edge
Yeah.
8
Yep.
to do some planetary. So I actually did some my first planetary. I mean, I've done planetary, a little bit in the past with my 8SC. So I'm not totally new to it,
Right.
but but it's nothing like me when I'm doing deep sky or anything like that. So this was my first opportunity to use my Edge 8, you know, for planetary, and I was very lucky to have the right weekend to do it. Because reading and listening, just like you watching a lot of YouTube videos, I was watching, YouTube videos from Damien Peach.
Sure.
Um, there are other ones like insert astro name, others, who talk about, and then, other fellow astronomers who have done, who are giving me tips. Um, so for my first two or three images, they're not great, but they're not bad. For your first few images. So I did Jupiter because we had just come out of opposition, and then, and it was still full moon. So I did that. So I got in the full moon. I haven't processed it yet, and then I've done Saturn. So
Well,
the
so
thing I need
I
to,
gotta ask you. I gotta
yeah,
ask
yeah,
you.
yeah.
For somebody getting into planetary who really has very limited exposure on it to begin with,
Yeah.
easy or hard?
It's a different beast, that's for sure.
Yeah.
There is a level of difficulty to it, for at least for me right now, until I really get a method down to really, and maybe I'm going to have to recruit some people and maybe just get on the phone or just do some stuff. And sometimes certain people you just need another person there, maybe they're right next to you,
Yeah.
you know, to hold your hand a little bit, to go through
Hey.
stuff, it's necessary. But certain things I have learned already that I may have not have done, but I need to. One key thing is having this Schmidt, and especially when it comes to planetary, you really need to check your collimation every night.
Oh yeah.
That
Absolutely.
you have to check your collimation every night. Um, Another thing is weather. Weather's extremely important. So, for example, listening to Damien Peach, one of his bits of advice is to check the weather and see, not necessarily if it's going to be a clear night, but look at the weather system itself. Are you currently in a high or a low pressure weather system, and you have a jet stream coming through your your area, because having a low pressure system and a jet stream coming through is going to throw everything off. So it doesn't matter how nice and clear your night sky is or anything like that. If you have that happening, you don't even, it's almost like don't even bother. The key is to look for, have opportune times where you have a high pressure system, where it may not have been the greatest weather, to begin with during the day, but if you can clear up a bit, but if it clears up a bit because you're doing high speed video, and you have that a good that good high pressure weather system, you don't have that jet stream, in your area. That's a good time to do planetary. That's one of the things I learned. Um, and with me using also color cameras, I actually purchased the atmospheric dispersion corrector. So
Yeah.
watching videos, learning exactly how to use it. Like you have to boost your gain. Um, using it with fire capture, boosting up your gain, boosting up your exposure. So it's out of focus. So you're not in focus. And looking at the bands, the color bands, and how
Sure.
to
Sure.
blend prism. So there's a few things I have learned. My thing right now is really going to be focus, working on that. because it's very important. One person mentioned to me, I have heard to kind of try to focus on a nearby star. If you can get if you're able to get one of the moons of a planet, you can do that. But one person also mentioned to me, try the actual moon. If the actual moon is out, try focusing on the moon first.
Okay.
Then go to to the planet you're trying to image. But of course, in the best times to image a planet, the best times, of course, is when the planets are in opposition.
Yep. Absolutely.
So there's different things I've learned, but like the software, I'm learning. I have to learn to get better with understanding. Fire capture, because fire capture, like I was doing fire capture and Saturn, for example, because on fire capture you have different settings, and you can choose different settings for the different planets.
Mm-hmm.
So like for example, Mars and Jupiter rotate quite fast, so you need a high frame. So you need a high frame per second rate. But for some reason, Saturn, it is slower, but my frames per second on Saturn were down to 10 frames per second. However, if I did the same thing on Jupiter, it jumped it up to 105, or 150 frames per second. So it's like, what's the difference here? What's the big deal? So I just need to have a little bit of understanding on fire capture and really what it means. And also another one that's kind of a little confusing to me was wind jupos. So
yeah,
which you can use for derotation and even for doing videos, for rotation videos and derotation and stuff. So there's just different things, with planetary that you just, that make it very different than deep sky, and it can be a bit challenging, but I'm going to keep at it because now I have my setup where if I can't show it all. So let me see here. Bring these over. So, for example, this is the deep sky setup. This is with the 294 mono, right, and my EFW, and it's got the reducer. It's got the.
I was wondering what that was. I was like, yeah, I got it now.
7X reducer. So this is, and which is kind of nice, to have it like this because I'm not really screwing up my image train.
Right.
So I put this right back on, and it's got a nice little cap on it that you can screw on. So I can easily take this off really quick, put the cap on it really, and I can almost nothing will get into it. I mean,
That's
I can
awesome.
do it so fast that, I can just leave this just the way it is and then go up to the camera, to my scope, take this off real quick and just pop it back on there and it's right back on.
That's awesome.
And then here is the 224 with the
ADC.
I'm using with the ADC, and this is with my 2X Celestron Barlow, but I purchased a 2.5 Power Mate.
The 1.25, yeah.
Yeah, the 1.25.
Yep.
So I have that as well, but then I also have. You remember I mentioned I have that Optec
yep.
loopholes.
Yep.
So now I have that set up right now on the Edge 8. But now I can use that, just strictly that, have it set up for if there's a full moon.
Nice.
So I can do full moon, with that, with the loopos. I can use this, and I've got this. So I've got my image. It's almost like I got my image trains all set up, so I don't have to change anything.
That's awesome.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah. So I mean, you know what? I really haven't done a lot of planetary. I kind of gave up because I just am not good at it. Just because I haven't really put the time into it. I have so little, just like you, Eric. I mean, we have so little imaging time. And the thing that's great about planetary is you could be done in 20 minutes, and just take the video for an hour and chop it up.
George is saying, dude, did I see that Astroworld has a new cloud AI in it? No, I didn't. I have to take a look at Astroworld. No, so I have to check it out. But, and then I ended up, one thing someone mentioned to me was to get a particular type of IR filter
Yeah.
An IR filter that's, I believe, either 850 nanometers or 685 nanometers
Yep.
for planetary. So I just got this off of Gina and Aunt Leah. 1.25. This is for 685 nanometers. Really inexpensive. I think it was like $39. So
Nice.
it's very simple. But
There's a lot
so
of questions out there regarding mini PCs and Eagles and ASI Airs and the whole spiel with that.
okay,
Gary's been talking about the NUC that he has. Time's been talking about the Eagle LE he has, and you know, I mean, they're all good solutions. They really are. It all depends on what's your budget and what equipment you already have, and really that's all there is kind of to it. If you're stuck in, or not, I don't want to say stuck in because that makes it a bad connotation. But if you're in the ZWO ecosystem, there's nothing wrong with going to the ASIR because it will do everything.
absolutely.
It'll
It
do
will do
everything.
everything.
Yeah, you got
Except
plate sol.
it won't run your observatory. But
Well, you know what? And if you have an observatory, I would
you
question your
probably wouldn't be
motives on
using
getting an
anti-air.
ASIR. But
You probably wouldn't
but
be using anti-air
that's like, let
unless
me
you're
get a $10,000 or so observatory and run it with a $300 ASIR. So,
yeah. So,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I am sure in a future release somewhere, ASIR will have some sort of ASCOM dome compatibility
you
eventually.
never know.
You
You
never
just
know.
never know.
And there's
Yeah.
nothing out there that said they're coming out with that. I'm just saying it's part of the natural evolution of the operating system. I think they'll end up putting something in there. But you could go if you go outside the ecosystem of ZWO. Nothing wrong with going with a mini PC. I bought a Minis Forum Intel i7, 32 gig of RAM with some, with an SSD on it, and it works fine. There's nothing wrong with it. You can put whatever you want on it. And then the next level up would be, of course, the Eagle, the LEs, at 800 and I think it's 850, 845, something like that. Um,
Which is still really reasonable for the
yeah,
LEs.
yeah, and I've actually tried one, and you know what? It's not bad. It's an i5 processor. It only has 4 gig of RAM, and I believe it's 80 gig on the hard drive. I might be wrong about that, but it's a good entry level at under $900. You get the same exact thing with the as the Eagle 4, with the exception of the eye. It doesn't come with the Eagle Eye, and but the RAM, the hard drive space, that's all cut. But it runs well, and you can put whatever you want on it. Plus, you got the power bridge. You could support all four items. You have three 12 volts out for your dew heaters. You got seven USB ports. I mean, so it's got everything, and it's a Windows 10 Enterprise computer, so you can put whatever you want on it. And believe it comes with the four. It comes with PhD preloaded on it. So I mean, half the stuff is on there. I love my Eagle. I almost
Yeah,
bought another one.
George has mentioned that they're doing 200 off on the Eagle 4 Pro because they can't get any i3 processors, so they're giving everyone a break on the i5 model.
Oh,
Which,
okay. I didn't know that. I was. I'm
yeah,
gonna
I just
ask
know
Tom
that.
about that tomorrow.
Yeah, sound
Um,
pretty well. So
yeah. So I mean, you got to remember also that the Eagle 4 at $200 off is the same price as the Eagle 3 Pro, which they don't sell anymore. But it's still $2,000 with $200 off.
yeah. Hmm.
So it's a big investment. It's huge. But I gotta tell you, the way that you're able to now do the cable management with the Eagle and have everything incorporated, including it'll run your dew heaters with the addition of something called the Echo. It'll run everything, and it's I haven't had more fun imaging and I'm sure this is kind of like what you're going through with the ASI Air. It's not all this tedious crap that you got to go
Yeah.
through to take an image. I mean, plate solving? What? I mean, I remember things before plate solving. There was no plate solving. You had to kind of star hop and match. I mean, it wasn't anything like that. But it was so difficult at one point. Now, I literally, even with Nina, after watching those 6 hours of videos, I literally hit run. And you know what? Just to get back to that, there was one bump in the road. It does a lot of autofocusing. And I think that's something to do with the settings that I kind of have. Because I have it autofocus at filter change, autofocus at plate solve, blah, 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 autofocus. So, like in the beginning,
You need to probably tone that down a little bit.
well, yeah, well, in the beginning, it like, because it had to plate solve twice, it focused twice. So I literally
Okay.
focused like 3 times before I took an image. And it kind of took a
Yeah.
while. So, because you're doing, I don't know, 7 to 9 points.
Yeah.
So you get the parabolic or a hyperbolic curve. But it's like you do it twice. Now you're doing it a third time. I'm like, aren't you in focus? I mean, come on. But
Yeah.
I mean, it was a little bit annoying. But literally, once I got through and it did the meridian flip and it did a filter change and it did the focus and ev- I'm sold. I'm sold. I'm really
Good.
sold. So I see Christian Cote asking a bunch of questions
Yeah.
uh, regarding the Eagle and the Wi-Fi, I believe. So. My extender is plugged in via cable to the Eagle. I don't. Okay, so if you have an outside access point where you could get Wi-Fi where your Eagle is set up in your backyard, if you could access it, let's say on your phone, the Eagle will lock on to your Wi-Fi. All you have to know is number one, what's the IP address of the Eagle? And you're going to have to put that into your remote desktop connection from Windows. You're also going to have to need to know if you're using a gateway. So if you're using some sort of gateway that's pulling in your internet and it's changing the IP addresses on your internet, you're going to want to know
Hmm.
that. And there's something out there, and it's a free program called Wireless Network Watcher. Wireless Network Watcher. And all you do is press play while you're on the network, and it will list all of the things on your network, every single one. And on that list somewhere will be the Eagle, and then you'll get the IP address.
Yeah.
You'll also get the MAC address if you're adept with whitelisting and stuff like that. You'll be able to whitelist the Eagle, so it will automatically go on your network. So.
Network, right?
Yeah, so
Yep.
I mean, I haven't found a reason to do that because it kind of, when you go into the Eagle under the advanced network settings, you just go in there, you put the network name in there or SSID, which is what it's called. You put
Hmm.
that in, put in the password for your network, and it saves it. And if it's in range, it'll connect to it.
It connects to it automatically.
Yeah. So the one thing you don't want to do is turn off your outside access point and forget to turn it on because I've done that before. So
Yeah.
Tom and Gary are talking. Um, uh,
Okay.
model.
Are you getting the questions? Because we don't have many people on YouTube, but are you getting the questions off of Facebook or where else?
It's all you. It's all YouTube.
Really? I gotta
It's all
reply.
YouTube. Yeah, it's not one thing from anything else. Everything else is on, but
'Cause
everybody's on YouTube.
that's
Let me
weird
see.
because, like I said, because I'm on the feed and all I'm seeing is George.
Really? Oh no, all these are on YouTube. I don't know what you're on, but
That's crazy.
got Gary, Tom, my friend Mark is on, Beatrice, again Tom, Christian Cote, Gary Albin, Beatrice again, Greg Meyer, Jim's Astro. Everybody's on YouTube.
Wow. So it must be me.
You're on.
It's got to.
You're on the wrong YouTube page, man.
No kidding. There we
I.
go. I just had to do a refresh. Okay, there we go. That was weird.
Oh, okay. The thing is, I can't remote from inside my house. Okay. So I guess I need to ask a question, and I don't know how well versed you are with network settings, because if you did a what is my IP with the Eagle,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to give you your global IP address. And if you're trying to log on with the global, you're never going to get in. You need to have the local IP address, usually starting, at least in New York, I don't know what it is in the rest, it's 192.168. Dot,
Yeah. So yes, it's your private IP. Your
right.
private
It's a private, localized.
internal class
Yeah.
IP address, like a 172 or a 192. Something like that.
Yeah, so it really depends. So basically, again, if you download that wireless network watcher and just get on there and press play, you'll find it. It's easy, it's free. There are other ways through Windows to get everything on there, but this program is so easy. You just sit there and you save it. And sometimes listen, I'll be the first one to tell you. Sometimes IP addresses change if you're not using static IPs. So you want to make sure you have something where you can see anything on your network. So,
Yeah.
yes, Mark, 192.168.1. Again, Mark, yeah, it really all depends on your router. It depends on your local settings. So don't go, I'm just going on Long Island. It's 192.168. So
Yes.
that's what it's been for as long as I can remember, is
Yeah.
192.168.1
That's
dot.
that's the traditional. That's a tradition. I don't want. I'm a network and
I
I'm
know,
a network, but that's the traditional private home IP address
correct.
subnet, that's usually what it is. I mean, me personally, I've gotten rid of that and I've done my own stuff.
Yeah,
But that's the usual. It's like 192.168.1 dot or dot zero dot something. It's
correct.
usually within your router. So
Yeah, so if you're not changing any of your network settings and you have just a run-of-the-mill network, it's probably one of those numbers. Just do yourself a favor. Just download the program, get it,
yeah,
press the play button, it'll pop up. The
it'll
first
pop
thing
up.
that'll pop up is your router. It'll have the 1.1 probably.
Yeah,
The first three, what is it? Octet? Is it
that's
octet?
it. Yeah,
Um, I know.
yeah.
I never
So yeah.
understood why they called it octet, because it's three numbers, but there's four sets, but there's nothing eight to do with it.
It's all based off of it's all based off of 16-bit. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Anyway,
Okay.
um, but Mark shot me a question real quick. Was like, did I use a diagonal? No, no. I don't use a diagonal for planetary. It's
No,
all straight through.
no.
You know. And what's cool thing is that and I've known this about Schmitz. Period. You don't really, when you're doing planetary, you don't have to worry about back focus. So if you're ever curious about that, type of like, do I need to do the 55 millimeter back focus?
No.
Like the deep sky? No, you do not.
Nope.
This not necessary. If
You're
anybody,
also doing, and if you get really into it, you're really only doing region of interest.
you
And
are,
yeah,
yes,
so
you
you're
are.
doing a very minuscule part of the chip, because planets are like tiny, man. You could have the tiniest chip, like the 120 mini or something like that. You're still using the smallest part of that chip just
Yeah,
to get that. And once you got that planet in that area, you could do what's called the region of interest, and then we'll
interest.
only image that
That's
part of the chip.
chip,
And
right?
that
Like,
really raises, and what's really important, and correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, what's really important with planetary imaging is frames per second.
per second. And you do region of interest, you're cutting out all that extra sensor space, so your frames per second are gonna shoot right up.
Skyrocket.
And that's what you want. That's the big thing. And also make sure you're using if you're using a USB and you go into to the fire capture settings and you turn on high speed.
Yeah. Yep.
Because if you don't turn on high speed, you're probably clicking at like, five mega,
Yeah.
you're clicking like 5 frames per second. But yeah, so you want to make sure that, and then it'll skyrocket. Region of interest, very important. So, because I usually do my region of interest, I usually have it set, but Greg LaMonica recommended I did 400 by 400, so I've done that, and it works just fine.
Good.
So I stick. But there's a lot of cool people out there to help out, so that's a good thing.
I'm gonna.
People asking,
Yeah.
what's the
Go
best
ahead.
second for Jupiter and Saturn? Well, the thing is with Jupiter rotates really fast. I
Yep.
mean, it'll rotate within 9 hours. It'll do a full rotation. So usually a good frames per second is probably, depending on your camera. Like I have a 224, and I'm getting around about 155 frames per second.
Yeah.
Now with Saturn rotates much slower than Mars and Jupiter. So you can do a lot longer exposure, or as far as that video can be much longer. Now, one thing I'm trying to work out for me is what I was mentioning earlier, that I'm only getting when I do my settings for in fire capture, and I click Saturn, I'm only getting 10 frames per second.
Oof.
Now that could be normal. I don't know for Saturn, but I do. But if I switch it over to Jupiter, that's when it shoots up to 150.
Yeah.
So
That could be because of that rotation
within
of the planet. That could be.
yeah, it could be the rotation of the planet. So I don't know, but other people have said they would use the 224, that their frames per second, even with Saturn, it's up there.
Yeah, but
So
because you're using fire cap, I think, and if you're using the presets per planet on
yes,
there, if you're using the presets, it's going to be set to what I'm sure that you could get a higher frame rate if you went outside of those
and
presets.
and if I go out the presets, so like say if I image Saturn using Jupiter's presets, it shoots up to the 100.
Sure.
It goes up to maybe 90 frames per second
Yep.
on if I have the Jupiter settings for Saturn. But it's going to be much slower on Saturn than it is with Jupiter or Mars. In Mars, if I'm not mistaken, it's probably going to be around that 100, 120
Okay.
frames per second because it rotates quite fast as well.
Yeah, and you got a little bit more experience than me on this. I've done planetary since I took a picture with my 18-inch about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But another reason for a higher frame rate, no matter, I could be wrong, but no matter which planet you're shooting, a higher frame rate, and if you ever visually looked at a planet with your eyes and an eyepiece, the planets go in and out of focus all the time.
The atmosphere.
Yeah, the atmospheric distortion that you get, it'll be like the more you look at the planet, the more you're gonna see, because things will just pop in and out of the focus of your eye.
Right.
And if you're getting that higher frame rate, you're able to get different parts of better focus.
Yes.
And then you
Yes.
could
You are.
lower your percentage used of
When
how
you're
many
doing
of the whole. Yeah.
when you're doing auto stacker, because if you at a high frame rate, you're getting so much more data so you can end up doing, like, say, a 10,000 frame video, and you can do
Yep.
several of them, right? And then you can throw them all into PIP, which is the
Yep.
planetary preprocessor, imaging preprocessor. You can get them all set up. You can merge them if you want to into one large AVI or SER file, or you can throw them. Or if you don't use PIP, but PIP is free, or throw them right into Auto Stacker. You
Uh-huh.
can put them all in there, and then it'll analyze, and then you can stack, and then it'll tell you. Of course, you can look at it, and it'll help you understand. All right, yeah, based off of the graphic, yeah, my best number, it is probably 50% or
They're the
30%, or
best 50 or
really
the
good
best 30.
percentage. So It's one of so yeah, it just depends.
Yeah, auto stack, it's really good. That's what I've used. I've never used pip, but for the 3 or 4 pictures that I've taken planetary, I've used auto stacker, and there's some really good tutorials out there for both.
Yeah.
So you can just
So
check that out.
Mark just shot me a question, so I'm going to grab this here really fast. So, so Mark, your question is this correct? As far as your imaging train for planetary, okay. So here you have here's my Edge 8 visual back, right here, Edge 8 visual back, and then yes, then it's your PowerMate or your Barlow, then it's your ADC, then it's your camera.
Yep.
Your ADC is right there. So yeah.
Yeah, that ADC. I actually have one in one of my. I think it's in my closet of death over there. I know I have one. I bought it. I believe it was $128 if I remember right,
Mhm.
and I've never used it. I don't
It,
know.
it's hand, especially you can use it for mono, but it's primarily used for color cameras.
Sure.
Um, and it's very handy, because it has those two prisms, so you can, because with that atmosphere, it's going to split, the light spectrum. So you're going to have red here, green
Hmm.
here, blue here. The greens you want is more centered, and it's going to break off that red and blue, like the spectrums of blue and red, and you want to try to recombine them, but you're using it, so you use the prisms to
It's
help
all lined.
direct that, to
Yeah.
align everything. So one thing is that it has a little bubble level here. You want to make sure that when you're imaging that that is level in the center, and then you can start from here. You have these levers, and you have this center screw here. I don't know if you guys see
Yep.
that. You start in the center there, and then you can start making slow adjustments and stuff like that. Because you want to get that blue, because usually blue is on one side of on one area of the planet, red or orange, or the red or the orange is at the other side, and you want to try to get them combined or mingled. If I'm thinking this correctly, I hope I am. I hope I'm not getting incorrect information. But you want to get them basically merged. But so you're going to have to shift the prisms. And one key thing is that when you're doing that shift of the prisms, the planet is going to move out of your
Yeah. You
out
got
of
to
your view.
recenter.
So it's got to be centered. So it's going to move out of your area of view. So you want to make sure you've got that hand controller in your hand, and make sure it's set to like the lowest setting, because I have done it where it's on max.
Zzz.
So you want to make sure that it's at the lowest setting for your hand controller, and then but make sure that you have that hand controller in one hand while you're working with the ADC. So you're making these small adjustments, um, and you can try to keep and that then you can put the planet back in the center of the frame and stuff like that.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
So yeah.
Yeah. It looks like Beatrice is struggling with planetary, as we all are. Like we mentioned this on the show quite a bit.
There's, yeah. I mean, if I, I know I keep saying, I'll be doing these, different videos and stuff like that, but I will, I might just do a video on the ADC, but there's a couple others that have done it. There's one gentleman who actually is from the UK who did a nice demo of using fire capture and an ADC, and that's what I kind of use to help me understand how the ADC works, because ZWO doesn't include a manual
There's nothing
in
in there. There's a piece of paper with like a picture of the ADC, and on the back where it was made in Shenzhen, China, or whatever is, in the back, and that's all there is to it. There's
that's it.
nothing. You got to look
There's
all over the
nothing.
place. There's no support for it whatsoever. It works. It
Oh yeah,
works.
it works. It
But
works.
you need to search out
Yeah,
the
because
information.
I actually purchased an ADC, like an Amazon version of the ADC, like years ago. But I was so frustrated with it because it too didn't come with a manual, so I returned it. I
Yep.
held, that 30-day return policy.
Sure. Send that thing back.
I said I'm done with it. I'm sending it back.
That's like what I do with my Stella mate.
But I said, you know what? If I'm gonna do planetary, I've got this edge. Here, I'm gonna get one, and I'm gonna stick with it, and I'm gonna figure the darn thing out.
Yep, that's the way to do it.
But also fire capture. It also it also has an ADC tool to help you. So once you get the planet and you move and you push up your gain and you push up your exposure and it goes into that color, it gets all blurred out. And it has an ADC tool that can also help you align the red
prisms.
and blue, the prisms, so you just have to keep it's a little box. You have to keep an eye on it. And, and it helps, it can help you so you can get them
that's cool.
right on top of one another. So that's kind of cool. That is kind of helpful.
All right.
I do appreciate that.
Yeah. So we spoke about a lot of stuff. I mean, this was a real potluck night. I'm telling you.
No kidding.
So we had Nux, we had Eagles, we had ASI Air, we had ADC, we had Nina, SGP. We were talking about everything tonight, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. Gary said he used his 183 MC Pro on planetary, which is usually for deep sky, but
yeah,
he definitely use it, and he got a fairly good frame rate. So
yeah, but you could use. I mean, the 224 is one of the 224 and the 462, from what I know, and the 178 mono with solar. But those are the three kind of for ZW anyway. Premier for planetary. And the 224 has been a standard for a long time. Yep.
And I told myself I was gonna get the 426.
The 462, yeah.
462, sorry, the 462. Yeah. I said I was gonna get it, when ZWO before they, released the news of the ASI Air Plus.
Yeah.
They have that 50, the sale and everything.
Yeah.
I was gonna get it. But then I told myself, no, I'm going to wait. I've got a perfectly good camera now. Let me figure out how to actually do this before I spend more money. Or spend another $300 on another camera. So,
Greg
Robin,
said,
watching, I was smart, honey. I didn't buy another camera.
No, that's good. That's good. So I bought something for Cherry Springs. I bought something.
Oh boy!
But it has nothing to do with Astro, sort of.
What? You buy a new car so you can a new car?
I bought a Mavic 2.
What's that?
It's a drone.
Oh God, no way! You gotta be
dude. We're gonna have some Astroworld pics from the drone.
You're gonna be like Dylan.
Dude, it's gonna be great. I'm not gonna be that good. I'm not as good looking as Dylan. Dylan's a pretty attractive guy. So but and Beatrice.
Anybody with that Aussie or English accent, they're attractive.
Yeah, see, I'm not even talking accents. I got the New York, Italian, Brooklyn, forget about it accent, but
that Midwestern Chicago accent, the Bears.
Yeah, the Bears. But Beatrice, I gotta say, the 290 is a close second or third, actually, for planetary. I use the 290 for the 4 shots that I've taken. I have the 290, and I bought that specifically for planetary. That is not a bad planetary camera. It's actually a very good one. And the reason why it's so good is because of its frame rate. So, definitely use that. That's awesome.
Beatrice, asking, you got a license for that thing?
Well, I do have to register it.
Yes, you do.
With the FCC.
FAA,
FCC, ABC, RNT, whatever. I don't know. Whatever. Give me another anagram. I don't know. But, you don't need a license for it. But I do have to. So it's coming tomorrow. So this weekend I'm going to be playing around with it, and I got scared because there was one out there, but it said it had no obstruction sensors. So if God forbid a tree when it was in the way, it would run into said tree, and I'd have to go find it. So that's something I wasn't willing to do, but I found one refurbished for pretty cheap, and well, comparatively cheap. Let's just say because those things aren't cheap,
No,
but
they're not cheap.
I'm telling you, I'm so psyched. I'm psyched. I'm gonna put this in the middle. I'm gonna scare the crap out of the dogs and everything. It's gonna be great. But yeah. So Dan will be bouncing off all the trees. Did you get a license for that? No, Mark. I'm using your military license so we can fly this thing in restricted airspace. So
There it is.
actually, we'll have two, maybe three military at Cherry Springs.
Nice.
I am not one of them, but Eric is. Mark is. A couple other ones. Chris Freerskin popped up. Beatrice is still hanging in there. My buddy Mark showed up. He's coming to Cherry Springs with his daughter. That should be fun. It's going to be cool. It's going to be cool. So come down to Cherry Springs. If you want to come, Eric and I will definitely be there, plus some other people are showing up. And Eric, don't jet off right after the show. I got to talk to you about something. But
Sure.
other than that, that's about it. We're coming up on an hour now, and I know we're both exhausted, and usually we hang out quite a bit longer.
It's been a hell of a day. So
Yeah.
It's no, I'm good with cutting it, short. And actually, real quick, sci-fi tangent.
Oh,
Listening to I'm listening to Dune.
oh.
I am listening to Dune. I am. What chapter am I on?
Now is this the
Chapter 33.
is this Dune the original, not the prequels?
No, this is the original.
Okay.
This is the original.
Okay.
It's got several cast members, several readers, in it. Scott Brick is
Yeah,
one.
Scott Brick was the one that did most of the readings in all the books.
Yeah.
He's
So-
really, really good. Really good.
Yeah.
He does a lot of
So-
stuff.
He does a lot of stuff. So so I'm on chapter 33 right now.
So where are you at? Are you in part 1, part 2, or part 3?
Well, I don't know. I guess maybe I'm in part 2.
Part
I'm not
2
sure yet.
is when Paul's on Dune with his mother, and
Yes.
all the crap happened
The
already.
Fremen. Yeah, all the crap has happened. They met up with the Fremen,
Okay,
and
yeah.
the Fremen are taking them to their tribe, to their home. So I'm
Okay.
at that point right now.
Okay, so they just met Stilgar, and
It's Stilgar, and they've taught and all of that. So now they're on their way back, to learn the weirding way, to teach them the weirding way, So
careful of that weirding ways stuff. That kind of doesn't really exist in the Dune universe. It's kind of like one of those things like nails
That's
on a
what they call it here in
chalkboard.
the book.
I know, but it disappears very quickly. And the movie, the 1980s movie with Sting and Kyle MacLachlan and all this, really got crazy into it by the point of putting stuff on their hands and shooting things with the sound. That didn't happen. There was nothing
Yeah,
like that.
sure.
The Fremen didn't have powers like that to talk and kill things with their voice. Never happened in the book. So just, if you saw the movie, erase it from your mind. Because even the
Right.
end of the movie is different than the book. So, but,
So
I mean,
no,
you're going to
so
like it.
I'm
Once you
actually
get
enjoying
through, once you get through, be wary of book 5 and 6. It gets kind of. It took me about 7 times to get through Heretics, which is book 5.
Okay.
It took
And
me
who knows?
7
I don't
times
know-
in
I
like
don't know- I don't
18
know
years.
How far out I might get into Children of Dune or Messiah. I don't know yet. But
I
I'm just
I
gonna
would
get through this right now.
I would tell you this: go up through God Emperor, and that's book 4.
Okay.
Stop there.
Okay.
Then read the prequels.
There were the prequels. Sure.
Then read the prequels. And then if you still want more, go to 5 and 6 and finish it out.
Sure, sure.
Because for me personally, it was I read Dune originally when I was like 14 years old, so 1985, right after the movie came out.
Everybody's ditching us now. Just everybody's like, "Thanks, guys, bye."
Oh, look at that! Nobody likes the sci-fi tangent anymore. You guys suck. God. But you know what? It's like everyone says goodbye. I'm going to sleep. All right, it's over. Let's close it up.
Let's close it out.
We're losing everybody.
We'll talk about this offline.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Thanks for coming down. Yeah, and let's see. Next week. Next week is what? The 1st. So that will be the weekend before.
Days before the Star Party. So
yeah. Yep.
It'll be good.
Yeah. So, and then the 8th will be the one after. So we'll have some stuff to report.
We'll have some stuff to report. Maybe you have a video or something that we're throwing up there from during the Star Party.
With a drone.
The drone.
If I don't crash, but
right.
Anyway, all right, guys, girls, Beatrice, thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good night, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate everything. Appreciate the support. We're just tired, so we're gonna get out of here. Have a good night. Remember, guys, and I'm really missing our closer. I love having her, but Jason, we love you too. But we like your daughter better.
Yeah, you got to take care of the fam. So
absolutely. We miss everybody that's not on the show now, and when they come back on, they're more than welcome. So guys, girls, remember, as always, keep imaging, keep educating, clear skies, and we'll see you in a couple days on Astroworld Q&A. Have a good night, guys. Bye.
Clear skies, everybody.